longer just in the hospital confines. So we know that it exists, it's here, and it's about us all the time. And the main thing that we need to do is focus on prevention. Now, when the case came up in September that we had a MRSA out at a school, I have to tell you that MRSA is not a reportable illness. At the Department of Health, we don't hear about it, except if it's told to one of our nurses. So when our nurses are out in those buildings and they're talking with different folks, they get informed about things like MRSA at the school. And in this case, it was in athletics, which is very common. We don't say that's the only place it occurs, though, because we've seen it in child care centers, we've seen it in classrooms, we see it all around us now. The athletic department, I have to just give accolades to Jack out at North Buncombe High School, the principal. He was right on it. He and the nurse took off down to the field, and they went and spoke with every single team about what MRSA is, how it's spread, what they need to be doing in terms of hygiene. That's a huge one for the kids. They need to be showering when they're done. They need to not be sharing their towels. They need to be washing their hands on a regular basis. And then what they did for the weight room was way above what is expected. We expect routine cleaning, and they've been doing the routine cleaning, but they added in extra cleaning in between the different events so that when they had a group of students in there and they went out and another group came in, the coaches are now cleaning the equipment. And I just give accolades because that's what's going to help to cut down the spread of MRSA in the schools. So are we doing the right thing in the schools? Yes. Are we doing the right thing all the way around? You know, we need to work on the hygiene, and that goes back to Public Health 101, is that we need to be washing our laundry. I mean, simply having a dirty laundry basket and a clean laundry basket is like, wow, because if we take that clean stuff and put it in the dirty basket, guess what, folks? We're still going to spread it. It's so easy to spread. Okay, so I just want to, again, give thanks very much. We did have a handout that we now use for the athletic department. We did one up, and we've given out to all the PE instructors. We had a nice session with them 2 weeks ago where the nurses were able to do some instruction. And we've asked that this be given out at the beginning of every sports session to every student so that they're aware of what it is and what they can do to take personal protection. And I know the board members were given a copy, and there will be a few extra copies in the back if other folks are interested in getting it. And of course, we're the Department of Health, so you can always give us a buzz, and we'll help you out in that way also. Anything else?
Board members? Yeah, it'd be appropriate. I know we have at the start of all of our sports teams' years, those parent meetings that are mandatory that the parents come to. We're dealing with this today. But MRSA's not going away.
Correct.
And it might seem to me that it might be prudent for us going forward to include that in some manner as part of that presentation, because you've got every parent of every athlete, and I think they do it by maybe 3 times a year depending on the sports seasons, and have that done as part of that. I don't know what to call that meeting. I've been to a lot of them when my kids were in orientation type meeting. They go
Extra key, so they're aware.
An extra key, an extra tool in the toolbox that takes care of this going forward. It doesn't take care of it, but at least it brings awareness and knowledge, and maybe helps with some preventive steps that keep this from happening somewhere down the road. Don't know if that could be done very easily, but
I think it's a great idea, and those meetings, by the way, are mandated by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. So, Dr. Ada, we'll work on that and put that in the agenda for all of our high schools.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Yeah, and along the same lines, Pat, I was going to mention we have a policy 420 and 420R that addresses communicable diseases, but it doesn't mention MRSA. We do also have 421 and 421R that mention lice and nits, and I think HIV is mentioned in one of those policies too. So I would just suggest maybe we could look at incorporating the MRSA into our policy manual as well.
It's a really good timing because we're currently under all our policies. So
I think I'm on that committee. Okay, probably they're trying to get everybody on.
All right, board members, any other questions or comments?
I do have another. Do you have another question?
No, I was just thinking.
Yeah, I guess specific to North Buncombe High School, just going by the news report on WLOS, they said they interviewed 2 students, and there was a mention of a 3rd student. And I didn't know if the condition of that student was any different.
He's doing fine.
Okay, good. I was just hoping they weren't in the hospital or something.
Yeah, one of the nice things is that those nurses check up on those kids, and he's doing well.
Great.
Thank you, Allison. And we appreciate those school nurses too, by the way.
Thank you.
Were parents made aware, I didn't know if they received a letter, I guess that was my other question, if it's the general procedure to send a letter out early in September when...
That is our protocol.
Mhm.
We're aware of that, and it goes out to all of the parents and athletes on that team or classroom, wherever that environment may be. Thanks.
Good.
I want to commend our curriculum department. A week ago today, we had staff development out at all 42 of our schools and had a chance to visit 10 of those schools and observed our teachers actually leading a lot of that staff development, and just excellent presentations. Technology use, innovation, lots of data analysis, and with all the initiatives and changes that we have on the plate, I hope we can find, I know our calendar committee's working very hard at this juncture of the year to prepare a calendar for 13, 14. So I hope we can find those opportunities to do more and more of that, because I think it's very much appreciated by our teachers. I have the opportunity to attend monthly meetings at the Chamber. I see Jess is here representing the Chamber of Commerce, and it's part of an economic development coalition. And I thought you would find it interesting to know that the 100 largest metro areas in the United States, they make up only 12% of land, but contain 65% of the population. But they also produce 75% of the national GDP. And what I'm leading into is Asheville is now recognized as one of only 13 smaller metro areas that have exported annually over $1 billion of materials outside of the United States. And why is that important for us in Buncombe County schools, and I really think in all schools? It really brings to light the need and the support for us to focus on global education and prepare our students as they cross that stage with the diploma to be prepared to be competitive on a global scale. So that is one of our 3 primary initiatives. And again, those type of facts, I think it just underscores how very important that is for our kids. Later in the agenda, I will be providing a recommendation along with a couple of options to the board regarding the distribution of religious literature, and that's associated with Policy 653, which this board had approved a few months ago. And this recommendation will hopefully initiate some discussion here with the board tonight. Certainly a consideration for any additional options that you would ask that I go back and work on. But I do want to make sure everybody understands I'm not asking the board tonight for a vote. This is simply a discussion that hopefully will lead to a good final decision in November or December regarding this issue. We continue to strive toward ways to improve the quality of the learning environment for all of our students and all of our schools. And I'm proud to announce that we are partnering with 2 sister systems, and they are Madison County and Yancey County schools. And we have an application that is almost complete. It will be a $20 million application. Could actually be up to $40 million. I think we've decided we're going to stay in the middle with that, Ms. Swanger. That will be a version 2 of Race to the Top. So I wanted Mrs. Swanger just to give you some updates on that. It's a lot of personalized learning, correct?
Yes, sir. Biggest grant I've had an opportunity to work with, and it is really a great opportunity. And what the grant will do would allow 3 Western North Carolina school systems to have best practices K through 12. Our focus would be on building teacher capacity and principal capacity using the New Schools model, which is a North Carolina research and support of our early college, and we've seen wonderful outreach and outcomes from our early college, so we know that it is a tried and true research model. We would also add support structures for students and families in this grant. We have there's a bonus point section that would deal with mental health and personal responsibility and some student kinds of issues. And then the personalization of learning. How do we help students by facilitating their learning and giving them opportunities to grow and using technology and using best practices in research. So we are in the midst of this. The grant is due by the end of the month, and we're working hard. It's a very large competitive grant, but we will have good data collected, so hopefully we will receive this grant, but if not, we have the data collected to apply elsewhere as well.
While I have you up there, can you update the board? I know we're extremely pleased to see some additional funding come from the state that's focused in on technology. So
Yes,
about
sir.
talking about our iPad 2s that are on the way.
The state has looked at a new assessment for K through 2 students. In the past, we had a paper pencil assessment that teachers have done for many years, and it has been a good tool, but it is outdated as some of our other assessments in the state. So on August 2nd, the State Board of Education adopted a diagnostic test called M-Class. It's reading 3D, and it will give teachers diagnostic information, and it will allow them to do formative, along-the-way types of assessments with students, all in the attempt that we have all students reading by 3rd grade. You'll see in last year's legislation, 3rd grade is a key area. We know that to be a key area, but there's significant language changing in that law for our teachers and our students. So the M-Class will be utilized on a technology device, and our committee felt like we wanted to move forward with iPads. So we have 65 iPads ordered. We will be training those teachers. The state has paid for this initiative. The state will also reimburse us the use of substitute teachers for these teachers to come out and have this training. And then we will start officially next school year, but we want to start in 4 schools this year and learn the instrument and see how it will benefit our students. Questions?
I do. Do we know which of the 4 schools we're going to?
We used our test data, and Johnston will be one site, and then we have 3 schools who are focus schools through some Title I designation, and we want to have that as a strategy for those schools.
Thank you.
And the iPads are paid for?
From the state. And these are for teachers. These are for teachers, yes. We receive an allotment from the state of North Carolina, and it is a reoccurring item in the budget, I understand.
Will the students be able to use the iPads in any kind of interaction, or?
I am not sure what will be secure on this, and haven't seen the assessment yet on the iPad. We would hope to add iPads in those classrooms, and schools are purchasing. The wonderful thing that collaboration with technology, Mr. Fuchs can buy in quantity, so he has allowed schools to purchase because they do have technology allotment dollars. So they're purchasing iPads for the same price because he's getting them at a good bulk price. So you will see more iPads in our schools.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Ms. Swan. I want to update the board as well as our public on the status of our environmental issues regarding the building and campus here at 175 Bingham Road. North Carolina Diener has coordinated with Snyder Electric, and Snyder Electric was a former Square D plant, to drill a monitoring well within close proximity to our building to provide another test analysis of groundwater. This will be a shallow, what they call a shallow well, that could test any type of effects on our building concerning the groundwater. The results will also allow our experts to determine the scope of the groundwater flow. This is scheduled to take place in the next couple of weeks and will meet the prescribed sequence of testing that is in place with NC Diener. And it's very calculated and sequenced in terms of the steps that they recommend. As I previously said here, and in fact, I think at the last board meeting, the delay of this well, we certainly hoped it had been in place at least a month ago, but it's been a result of Diener's focus on a very comprehensive action plan. And most of that plan deals with property that's across from us, off of our campus, 128 Bingham Road. But that said, we're anxiously awaiting that test to take place and that new well. This new well, by the way, along with the current well in place and proximity to our building, what it represents for us is the ability in the future to monitor any type of flow, any change in the flow of groundwater. And all this said, I have made a decision as superintendent to go ahead and move on to the next step of testing as well. And that again follows the sequence that is in place for Diener. And that recommended sequence of tests is to perform soil gas sampling, and that'll take place in the building. I've authorized a total of 5 soil samples to be taken during this assessment. They will be taken from beneath the existing concrete floor slabs within the building that we're currently in. And 2 will be actually taken from adjacent outdoor soil locations. As I've committed earlier, said this publicly, once I have the test results available, board, my intent is to schedule a work session to give you, and certainly that will be open to all public stakeholders, a very comprehensive report on the past, the present, and the future facts that's been related to this status, environmental status of our building. And again, that's the property here on 175 Bingham Road. It's just my belief that in order to attempt to try to get some closure on where we are regarding this environmental status, we need to go ahead and complete that additional step. So that is what I've authorized to take place over the next couple of weeks. And finally, on behalf of our foundation, just want to remind everyone that I hope to see you out in your tennis shoes and shorts. It's going to be a beautiful day. 9 o'clock a.m. at Enka High School for the Amazing Race. Starts at 9 for the adults. And those of us like me that the kids will beat in a race, we start at 9:30. So no trepidation. Just get out there and let's enjoy a beautiful, beautiful day for a good cause for a foundation. That concludes my announcement.
Ms. Blunt, I believe we have some employees to recognize.